Ladies and gentlemen, Borderlands might be one of the worst movies of the decade for me. And it was made by Eli Roth, who the last thing I saw him make was Thanksgiving, one of the best horror movies I've seen in a very long time. This movie has justifiably earned its 0% Rotten Tomato score. This movie does not deserve to make a single solitary cent to its name. Let's jump in this. I'm not going to talk about the lore because the last time I played the Borderlands games is when they came out, so this isn't going to be a review of, oh, this is canonically correct or anything like that. I don't care. I don't care at all. This could be the most lore-accurate movie of all time for all I care. It is garbage beyond belief. No hyperbole, no clickbait at all. Avoid this movie like the... It's not even worth watching it for free on a streaming service. Not even worth that. Let's get into this. This movie, realistically, as I'm finally finished watching it, this movie is Guardians of the Galaxy. It tries with all of its might to do that, to replicate that. And it fails 100% of the time. The movie starts off with a somewhat prison break. Kevin Hart plays the character Roland, if you remember him from the games. Looks nothing like Kevin Hart at all. Starts off with a young girl named Tina trapped in a cell. And Roland opens the door, but of course has to do his Kevin Hart thing of trying to take off his helmet because he can't breathe and he's out of breath. And Roland explains to her, oh, Atlas told me to come bring you to safety. So be in mind as this is going on. The red lights are flashing and the alarms are blaring. There's disturbances going on here. They know, Roland, they know that you're here. And we're wasting time chewing the scenery here talking about, oh, Atlas sent his shortish soldier to come get me? Get the hell out of here. Move the hell on. So after a few senseless jokes, we move on to the next scene where Roland is John Wicking all of these soldiers in a hallway. Very weird that we went from this guy being useless and mocked, and now he is the toughest man in the entire universe. Okay. He even does some comedic stuff where he bumps into people, but then recovers and kicks everyone's asses. Very, very odd. And then as they're going through this prison break, for some odd reason, one of the cells breaks open, and it's a psycho by the name of Craig. And he just comes along with them. Roland says, hey, you can come with us, because he has this instant infatuation with Tina for some odd reason. I don't know what the hell they're going with. So yeah, Craig just joins this group after this prison break for some odd reason. I don't know what Craig is. He's obviously one of the psychos. That's what the group is called here, but he's allowed to wear his mask in his prison cell. But anywho, we then cut to a planet 50 million light years away, and we are introduced to the character Lilith, played by Cate Blanchett, who is realistically 20 years older than the character. And I've even read that Cate Blanchett said she bought a PlayStation just to play the games, to understand Lilith's mannerisms and the way she acts. Did you not once look at her and say, wow, this girl's like a 20-year-old and I'm in my, 60s at this point? Anywho, Lilith for some reason is bringing a bounty through this big city and ends up at a bar. And we see people moving out of her way because she is, of course, the toughest and scariest bounty hunter in the entire galaxy. Also, she's very quick to anger, yet extremely kind-hearted and loves everyone and always wants to do the right thing, but don't screw with her or waste her time or she'll gun you down. You know, she just has all the tropes mixed into one. She is our Chris Pratt, folks. And no, she is not even remotely, any way, shape, or form, anywhere near as charismatic or as funny or as honestly useful as Chris Pratt is in Guardians of the Galaxy. She is then approached by a businessman and his two goons, and Lilith instantly punches him in the nose. And as blood is pouring through his nose, he calmly explains to her that he works for a very wealthy businessman who has a contract for her. And then for some odd reason, his bodyguards pull a gun on her. Now, a competent writer, somehow Eli Roth wrote this movie, go figure, wouldn't the guards have pulled the guns on her after, she punched their boss in the face? Wouldn't it have been, hey, he goes up to talk to her, she punches him, and then they pull their guns out? Why would they pull them out when he's explaining that, oh, I'm with this wealthy businessman here to offer you a contract? Okay. And as he's explaining this to her, for some reason, Lilith turns around and shoots both of the guards. Because the man said his boss isn't one for waiting. So she just opens fire on these two dudes in a crowded bar. And as, of course, the place clears out, there's a man sitting in the corner clapping as he watches. And as he walks to her, he goes, oh, these men work for me. Oh, they used to work for me. And Lilith shoots him in the chest. Lilith, the worst bounty hunter in the history of bounty hunters. But thankfully, thankfully, the man is wearing a hologram face. And the real boss, Atlas, is communicating with Lilith now. So he orders his surviving henchmen to put the mask on so he can have a conversation with Lilith. Okay. But I'm more confused of, why is Lilith indulged in this conversation? She just killed these 3 people and spared this last dude. She doesn't want to work for this guy at all, yet for some odd reason now I'm going to hear him out because he's taken the time to talk to me about this? So the man in charge, Atlas, he explains that his daughter has been kidnapped and he needs Lilith. And Lilith asks, why doesn't he just use his army, the Crimson Lance? But unfortunately, the kidnappers are one of them, he says. He words it very weird. He says, oh, that's one of them. But are the Crimson Lance is it an entire army that went AWOL and turned against them? He doesn't really explain that at all. And I don't even think the writers even know what they're talking about. They're just blowing through this scene like it's nothing. So Atlas needs Lilith because she's an outsider. And she can handle herself on the planet Pandora, which is populated by psychos and monsters and whatever the hell else is going on over there. But Lilith says, you can't possibly pay me enough to step foot on that trash heap again. And then Atlas wires her some money. She's like, oh, I guess you can pay me enough. But then she tells him, oh, but first I have to take care of my bounty first. So the dude just shoots this bounty in the back of the head. But it's not Atlas doing the pulling of the trigger. It's the other guy wearing the Atlas face. The guy that got punched in the face that Lilith spared because he's not worth killing. This dude just pulls a gun out there and guns this guy down. This is the movie. We're only like 6 minutes into this mother. It's terrible so far, and it doesn't get much better at all. Atlas then gives Lilith a beacon that she has to turn on when she finds a daughter, and Atlas ends the conversation, and the man apologizes before slinking away. The man that just shot an unarmed man in the back of the head is apologizing as he's just slowly walking away now. Anything for a joke, people. Anything for a joke. Lilith then lands on the junk heap known as Pandora, and she is of course the narrator and tells the audience everything we need to know. It's a terrible, shitty place, and Lilith hates it. And then when Lilith lands on the planet, she says, God, I hate this planet. To bring home the joke that she hates this planet. So Lilith, the best bounty hunter and tracker in the galaxy, pulls out a device and scans the entire planet and its atmosphere for clues. No, I'm just kidding with you. This is her detective work. She has a picture of Tina and hands it to some street youths, and they point her in the right direction to go. Then we get a quick action scene that was in the trailer where Lilith's shooting a psychopath on a vehicle and is then picked up by a tourist van, where we get a very long educational video on the history of these alien vaults, and that travelers have come far and wide to try to open them. And the scene goes on and on and on, And we even get little time lapses of Lilith just being annoyed while watching this, and I remember why I skipped these things in the game. She even asks, can you turn this shit off? Which is probably the collective opinion of everyone watching this movie in the theaters. Lilith exits the bus and is at a very old, destroyed, dirty-looking town. Narrator Lilith says, 2 weeks on the trail and it's as cold as Pandora's moons. You've been here for 2 weeks. I don't know if I heard... Did I hear this correctly? If I'm wrong, please correct me. It looks like she's been here for hours at best. You're telling me she's been here for 2 weeks, handing a photo over to people that have been pointing her in the right direction this entire time. Why would anyone hire this woman to do anything at all? Later that night, we meet Claptrap, played by Jack Black, whose career, ironically, looks as destroyed as the vacant town itself. Claptrap annoys Lilith and takes her responses as witty banter, as he says, "No movie. This is just terrible, terrible dialogue." Claptrap then does the info dump of explaining that he has been lying dormant under a trash heap for 36 years and was reactivated upon Lilith's arrival to help her out. Of course, he has no idea who has put him on this mission, but thankfully he is equipped with the best plot convenience I have ever seen. He is able to take the picture that Lilith has been carrying around of Tina, and he could scan every single camera on the entire planet and find her location. Are you kidding me? Thanksgiving, let me just talk about the movie for a second, might be one of the best horror movies of the past few years. Every single second of that movie is not wasted. Every single moment is vastly important. It's 100% callbacks. Now we have this. What is going on, Eli Roth? Thankfully, as Claptrap is playing the Scanning song, he then finds Missin' Tina. He says she is 132 days on foot away. Wait a second. Let me get this straight, okay? Claptrap has the ability to scan every single photo on the planet to find this girl. You're telling me Atlas, with his massive army and massive resources, he can't do any of this at all? This is the plot, people. This is the twist later on. 16 minutes in, and this movie deserves to be a flop. Eventually, Lilith and Claptrap find Tina hiding in a junk heap. Ariana Greenblatt is the woman that plays Tina. She's going to be nominated for a Razzie Award this year. She is dreadful in this movie. And I was shocked to look at her IMDb page and see all of these movies and shows that she's been in before this. She is awful in this movie in every possible way. Now, I don't remember, like I said with the game Borderlands, if this is how Tina acted in the games, it doesn't come off well at all. This is a movie that should have been made 10 years ago when the games came out. It is not a movie at all that translates very well at all today. All the jokes now are just terrible. Like I said, maybe they would have worked back then, but now it's just nothing but a cringe fest at this point. So Lilith and Tina get into a fight where Tina hurls tons of stuffed animal bombs at Lilith, and after a dozen different explosions, Craig decides to wake up from his bunker and attack Lilith. Craig, a normal human being, granted he's a bit taller than everyone else, wielding a battle axe, and is somehow able to survive the barrage of bullets from Lilith. Well, I guess that makes sense because she's actually not trying to shoot him in the face or any part of his, actual body. No. The best bounty hunter in the galaxy is continuously trying to shoot this man in the axe. Then a bad guy from the opening scene that I completely disregarded her existence, named Nox, who works for the Crimson Lance, shows up with her massive, massive army. Somehow, she knew where to go this whole time. Again, twist for later on, but man, it's dumb. Oh, it's dumb entirely. But thankfully, Roland shows up in some kind of a van and the group escapes. Not a single bullet is fired at them to this point. Nox is the only one doing any fighting at all with this massive arm behind her. She even tells the group to open fire, and yet she is the only one shooting. All these cars, all these planes, and no one is doing a single solitary thing, but it seems like all is lost. But thankfully, Roland drifts slightly to the left, causing a massive pileup of all of the cars, and they all flip over for some unforsaken reason. Then the group enters the piss fields. And it reminds me of, have you ever watched a movie that you haven't seen for 20 years or something like that? A movie that you remember fondly during your childhood, and you put it on, maybe you want to show someone the movie, and you realize 5 minutes in that this is absolute garbage. Maybe I shouldn't have liked this movie, maybe it's just poorly written and everything. This movie, it feels so childish. So bad. And it makes me wonder, were the games this bad back then? I don't remember. I remember having fun playing the games, but thinking back as an adult playing them now, it's like, this is garbage. Garbage, everything. And maybe if this movie was made, 10, 15 years ago, it might have made something back. Maybe even $1 worth of profit. So the group is trapped by a giant tentacle monster, and Nox and the crew shows up, but Roland has a genius idea to blow through the monster with the rockets and the thrusters. Not a bad plan, but I think one of the biggest problems with Roland's character is that they keep switching him from tough, smart, badass, and then making him Kevin Hart, where he just goes on and on and on and does not shut up at all. Then he becomes, again, the strongest, toughest, smartest person in the room, and then he's utterly useless Kevin Hart. The movie doesn't know what they want to do with this guy. Completely inconsistent. But thankfully, as the group escapes, Nox and her forces decide not to pursue her at all. Then we get to the somewhat plot of the movie, because Tina starts explaining that she's not really the daughter of Atlas, if I'm hearing this right. But she's some kind of a science experiment needed to open up these ancient vaults that are on this planet, that only someone, a daughter of some name that I'm not even going to bother back researching what it is, can actually open this vault, and Tina is special. That's why Atlas is sending all these people to go get her, because she is special, and with only with her can you open up this vault. At this point also, I'm a little bit confused of what's going on in this movie, of why Lilith, a very smart and dedicated bounty hunter, is just deciding, hey, you know what, I was paid to do a job, a gargantuan amount of money, to go to a place that I do not like at all, to do this job. Why am I not doing the job? Because you know what, who cares? Who cares? That's why she's not doing it anymore. So they realize that they have to go find some scientists that will help locate the keys or something like that. But thankfully, Tina has one of the keys, so they just need a few more of them to open up the vault. The group then goes to Sanctuary City, where Roland tells them to keep a low profile and to put these masks on. Now, gentle viewer, let's pretend we're out somewhere and we want to be inconspicuous. What kind of a mask you think we might put on our faces? Would it be like a Thor Ragnarok, where he just puts the sheet over his face, like, oh, well, you can't see me now? Would it be maybe, put it on a hat or a hood? No. Those would make sense. What do they decide to put on? Bright, neon-colored electric mask. Everyone else is not wearing these things. But these people, these 4 people, are wearing these masks that make them stand out like a bunch of sore thumbs. Even the bus driver is in this scene, and he instantly realizes that it's Lilith. Why? Because her mask looks like her face. Eli Roth did this movie. Thanksgiving. Then they enter this weird sex shop, And Roland is recognized by comedian Bobby Lee, who's with the Crimson whatever, just instantly realizes that, hey, I know you, we're friends. And then Lilith talks to, I guess, the owner of the sex bar, who knows who she is from her childhood. And then they start discussing what the plan is going to be. And as this is going on, the Crimson guys come into the bar, and the owner of the bar tases Bobby Lee, and then tells the guards, oh, the man can't handle his liquor. And the group escapes into the back room. Now, here's the conversation. I don't understand this at all. If I'm mistaken, please help me understand this. The owner of the bar is talking to Lilith. She's explaining how to get to the scientist. She explains that you have to go through this room, enter a code, and take the elevator up. From what it sounds like, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be like some Prison Break type of situation, right? Wrong. The back room is literally like the back room of the bar. She goes on and explains this very long, elaborate set of plans of what you have to do to get into this elevator. And it's just, go into this room right next to me, press the button, say a word, elevator comes and goes up there. What is this movie? What is this movie, people? Then the group goes in the elevator and finds Jamie Lee Curtis playing the character Tannis, and oh my god, this push-up bra. Jamie Lee, where have you been hiding these things all your career? She also knows Lilith, and Lilith is mad at her because Tannis promised to keep her safe as a child. The two actresses are 8 years apart. I don't buy this relationship of the mother gave Lilith to Tannis to keep an eye on her. You given a child to a child and expected her to protect her through thick and thin. And then Lilith storms off because she's a child, and we get a big, long info dump of Lilith and Tina talking about how Atlas really isn't her father, and she's just a science experiment used to open the vault, and all these weapons, and blah, blah, blah. Why does she care? Why does Lilith care again? She's a bounty hunter. Imagine Jango Fett hearing a sob story and say, you know what? I'm, one of the most famous bounty hunters in the galaxy. I'll let you off with a warning. Who cares? Who cares? Then the next scene, Knox is talking to the owner of the sex bar with Bobby Lee, and he's pleading his case with her that, no, he wasn't drunk, I was tased. But Knox isn't buying any of this at all until Bobby Lee sees Claptrap for some odd reason, as Claptrap is just taking a stroll downstairs. And Knox realizes that, oh, they're here, and decides to panic the crowd by firing a gun in the air. So then we learn about a second key, and Claptrap comes up the elevator in a desperate panic, explaining that, oh, there's soldiers down there. So now the group has to escape. How do they escape? Is it an elaborate plan? Is it a gunfight? Is it something cool? No, they escape in a garbage dumpster, being pushed by a few guys that work at the bar. That's the plan. It just shows Knox talking to all these civilians trying to get information, and the garbage dumpster is just being pushed by. And the sex owner kind of just like winks at them, realizing that they're in the dumpster. So then the group ends up at some, weird sewer system with acid water. And they take a second to admire this flower growing in the concrete, and they just zoom in and they get closer at the majesty of this plant. And Claptrap just stomps on it because he sucks and makes a stupid joke. Then we encounter a group of psychos that these are the psychos that are so deadly that the regular psychos are afraid to be around them. So Claptrap has to get their attention by saying the following, and I quote, a Hollywood person wrote this. A human being paid to write wrote this. This is what Claptrap says, and I quote, y'all bitches need to eat your own butts with your poopy mouth ass faces until you die from loser poisoning. Clearly Tina told him to say this because it cuts to her mounting the words to Claptrap. A human being wrote this. A studio signed off on this. I hope you people lose 100% of your money. Everyone that made this movie does not deserve to do this again. Eli Roth, what are you doing? So the psychos then decide to shoot Claptrap 1,000,000 times and he falls into a hole, but thankfully the rest of the group used this as a distraction to go down another hallway and they met him on the other side. They search a few boxes and instantly Lilith finds the key because clearly she's the special one here. It's not that revealing at all. You can clearly see that Lilith was summoned by this key and instantly knew where it was. Then they start to leave, but of course Claptrap has to poop out all the bullets. And it just goes on and on and on forever. 0% Rotten Tomatoes score, 100% justifiable. Then of course, thankfully, some fighting starts. The psychos realize that people are here, and we get into a very, very long fight. Remember in the beginning of this, I said that these are the psychos that the other psychos are afraid of? Yeah, they take him down with zero opposition at all. Zero opposition. To the point where Roland is mad at Tannis because she took one of his guns without asking. This might be one of the worst movies of the year, folks. I defy you to find something worse than Borderlands 2024. The only redeeming part of this entire scene is that we kind of get a Repo Man type of style fight here at the end, where Craig and Roland are fighting all these psychos in a very tight quarters situation. Doesn't go on that long though, but for a single second I had hope that we were going to see some good action finally. But then, oh no, here comes, people buckle up for this one. Get the tissue boxes ready, because Roland sacrifices himself because the group has to go into an elevator to escape, but the wire outside the elevator is sparking. So Roland has to jump out and tie the wire off so the group could escape up the elevator. And as they're slowly moving away, Tina throws Roland a stuffed animal bomb. And then Roland turns, looks down the hallway, and throws the bomb and blows up the entire hallway, and then starts unloading on all the psychos that are coming at him, and it's such a slow motion Zack Snyder emotional scene, great music, and we see him just be dogpiled by a dozen psychopaths as we cut to black. But obviously, clearly he's gonna survive, right? Obviously, he didn't die in this scene. It's worse than you think. Moving on. The elevator is broken and moving at a very high rate of speed. And as it's about to crash, thankfully, Tina finds out she has the ability to teleport people. So the day is saved, because as they crash through, their bodies are teleported somewhere else. I'm done with this movie. I checked out. I'm telling you guys, this movie is only an hour and 30 minutes. It felt like 3.5 hours. I can't explain it to you. Time moves so slowly watching this movie. So later that night, Lilith and Tannis are having a conversation about what will happen when they get all the keys and open up the vault. Apparently, it says it will consume Tina. And Lilith asks Tannis, are you prepared to take that risk? She's not your daughter, Lilith. Tina isn't your daughter. More importantly, let's say for a second, you want to protect Tina from Atlas. Why not just take her and go? Why not just say, okay, screw it, we're out of here? No, why can't you just take her and leave? It doesn't make any sense. Why are you continuing the mission and going where Atlas is trying to find as well? And just take her and run. You're a bounty hunter. You have a ton of money. Be a bounty hunter somewhere else. Not that complicated. But then we cut back to the Roland fight. He's killed everyone. He got dogpiled by about a dozen guys when the scene ended. And somehow, he just, killed them all off. No problems at all. That's it. He just gets up and walks away. Okay, movie. Lilith walks alone at night and smashes the beacon that Atlas gave her, and then... God, I'm so confused by the scene. Some small hologram device flies in, and it's Atlas. And I don't understand. He shows up to monologue and tell Lilith that he knows where they are. And I've been tracking you this whole time, and I'm gonna bring some people to collect Tina. Why are you telling them this? Why are you giving Lilith and company time to react, arm up, set some Home Alone style traps, and just, fight you guys off? Why are you coming there and saying, hey, I'm coming soon? Also, where are you? And why is your entire army not here right now? A master class in terrible writing, people. So Tina hears this, and I don't understand. She's for some reason betrayed by this. Betrayed by Lilith, and gets mad and throws a bomb at her and escapes. Does Tina know what's going on anymore? Do I even know what's going on anymore? Why is she confused by this? So Lilith wakes up and Claptrap is dancing at the thought that Lilith is dead. And the group has left without her. Even Tannis left. Didn't even question it of, hey, why'd you throw a bomb at Lilith? Nothing like that. No questions at all. They all just left in the middle of the night after a bomb blew up where they were sleeping. We then get a flashback of Lilith as a child with her mother giving her to Tannis. But Tannis is still an old-ass woman in the flashback. Granted, she has black hair to show that time has passed, but those wrinkles don't lie. This woman, it says, it's just like 40 years ago this moment happened. But those wrinkles don't lie. And then somehow Lilith finds a picture of her and her mother from like 40 years ago? And then Clap accesses a voicemail from Lilith's mother and explains that she's something special and Claptrap was designed to find her and help her. And the scene ends with Lilith realizing that somehow Tina is in trouble. What? We then get the remaining group traversing a mountain and they end up going to the dig site. They find the entrance to the vault and put the keys on it. But oh no, it's a trap. Atlas is here with his army. They're hidden in a hologram that looks like the terrain. They are screwed. But thankfully, in the nick of time, our boy Roland drops down from the heavens and does nothing of value. He just stands there with the group. And Atlas says open fire, but Nox tells them to stand down. Oh, she's making that baby face turn, people. Nox has realized that, oh, Atlas, you're just a bastard. And I'm going to side with these people. I'm going to stand by them. They are my new family. And Atlas just guns her down like a dog and vaporizes her in a second. What is this movie? What is going on here? But then Lilith shows up. Lilith then shows up at the top and teleports down because she is the goddess of who gives a shit. Tina isn't special at all. She's just some basic bitch. That's all Tina... She doesn't have powers, folks. She doesn't have powers. Apparently, I don't know. I think this might be a plan to get Lilith here or something. I've checked. I know this is bad for my brand. I have checked out of this movie. I have stopped caring at this point. At this point, I don't know what's going on. And Lilith gives some bullcrap speech to Tina about memories, and Tannis explains to everyone that your mother gave you to me so I can stop you from coming to this place. And Claptrap says, well, that worked out great. Why are you mocking your own terrible movie, Eli? Then Lilith agrees to open up the vault if Atlas spares her friends. The rocks around them start to assemble a arch that opens up into a portal. And Lilith's jacket burns off and is replaced with fire angel wings. What the fuck is this movie? Tina then gets thrown down a hill and Lilith throws a fireball at her and picks her up. And then the fighting starts. Lilith can now make invincible armor for all of her friends by setting them on fire. So what is the danger here? But luckily, Atlas uses his massive ship and knocks out Lilith, and all the shields go away, but she keeps on fighting, and everyone gets a cool signature moment to kill off their opponent in one-on-one battle. Lilith blows up Atlas's ship, and he grabs Tina and demands that she opens up the vault for him. So the three of them teleport inside the vault, and as Atlas is admiring the beauty and majesty of the vault, Lilith takes away his invincible overshield that he was using before, and a tentacle monster eats him. She just leaves with Tina, as this man is being wrapped up in tentacles and dragged away and killed. Not really a hero, right? Just, I didn't like that at all. Killing this defenseless man like that didn't really feel like the hero's journey to me. Then, I don't understand this part at all. Then we get a fireworks show. The day is saved, the movie's over, folks. They've solved the problem. We have a town shooting off fireworks, and Tina tells them, hey, let's go join the party. What party? Is this like a world-saving thing or anything like that? What were the ramifications of this movie? If Atlas would have got into this vault, wouldn't he just have died anyway to the giant tentacle monsters? Like, what would happen? Does his overshield protect him from these monsters? I don't know. And that's the movie, folks. That is Borderlands the movie. One of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life. Action is awful. Character motivations, character everything, cast and choice. There is not a single thing that went into this movie that made me go, well, at least you did this right. It's bad all around. And I cannot imagine this movie making a single dollar of profit. I think it's going to lose big time in the box office, and it should. And isn't it a little bit funny that not so long ago Jack Black did this huge stupid thing, and then his movie bombs in the box office? It's like the Alan Richardson situation all over again. But weirdly enough, this movie is just, it's so, even if Jack Black never did what he did, this movie is bad. This movie is beyond terrible. I don't think I've ever said this at all in any review I've ever done. Don't see this movie, folks. I'm saving you money here. This is one of the worst movies I have ever seen, but I hope you enjoyed my review, so let me know what you guys think about that.